Hello. Sorry, I was a bit late today. Running really rushed today. So, let's see. So I didn't have much time to prepare for this live stream, but most of the time was spent working on like a sample hip file to demonstrate how the new facial expressions HDA works. So this is like a glimpse of what the example hip file look like. It's huge. The actual functionality of the actually I should talk about what the facial expression HDA. If you haven't seen the teaser video that I had released this morning, it was supposed to be released yesterday, but I couldn't make it in time, so that's why the video in the little script that I wrote, the video says tomorrow, but it's actually today because I couldn't edit the video in time. I'm just gonna pull it up. So it's this little teaser video I had released this morning. So you can see these different facial expressions on Oliver. What this tool does, it enhances the facial deformer, which is the lip sync HDA. If you all remember these little lips working about, it's deforming the mesh. So I took that concept and now I'm deforming the entire face to give him raising the eyebrow looks, that sinister mouth grin, and all that juicy stuff to give it a little bit more life. So that's what this new facial expressions HD is all about. The best thing is that it works very well with the lip sync. So you can see Oliver is talking while having some sort of emotional expression on his face. So this is perfect. Although the compatibility between the lip sync HDA and the new expressions HDA needs a bit more fine tuning. So it's still in the works, but it is functional at the moment. And I will be releasing it in the next couple of days. So I just had to clean it up. Basically clean up this example hip. It's huge. So most of the time was spent on making these presets. So I've this is the setup for the expressions HDA. So I have to know where the face is, where are the landmarks, where's the mouth, where's the nose, where's the eyebrows. So that's what all this does. Then this part will these three are just object merge nodes. So basically it's just connecting this over here and this one over here to this node. These three nodes outputted from these guys, these measurements or these markings on his face connects to this guy. This is the expressions. This is where the magic happens, where it deforms the face. So I have these three object merge nodes just so I don't have lines crisscrossing everywhere, because I have a lot of these, a lot of different facial expressions preset already. So that's the only reason why there's three object merge nodes. This is like one of the presets to make his face look like. Just gonna load it up. Give it a second. Okay, so it gives it like a really look sort of thing. Like, what is that? Are you serious sort of look? So that's what this preset is doing. Additional geometry, I'll talk about that in just a bit. So we have our familiar deforming radius, deforming scale. This should be familiar if you've used the lip sync HDA. So it has the same, I'm just going to pull it up. These colored landmarks. This tells you where the mouth is. So in case you want to like choose where the mouth landmarks are, so you can adjust your measurements in case like your measurements may be off or anything. So let me show you what the measurements look like. That'd probably be more descriptive. So this is like the mouth points. So each mouth point, let me pull this out. So each mouth point here, you can see that it has that same naming convention. Let me pull up one more thing. Landmarks. Trying to find that landmark. This. So this is the same naming convention used for the lip sync HDA. That's this, the mouth right here. And then we have, let me do a front view. Take this off. I'm just going to merge this so we can have a better look at it. Okay, there you go. This is what I need to know out of taking the dimensions. This is what the HDA needs to know first. I need to know where the eyebrows are and the nose and the mouth points, which is very similar to the lip sync HDA. And after you have all that, so sometimes you might have to adjust this, adjust the position of the mouth to where Oliver is. So I hope you can see that. So you can see this is Oliver's mouth right here. And then we're trying to place the mouth landmarks right on in front of it. And then I'll project it back onto Oliver in order to figure out where the mouth positions are. And this here, there's 4 outputs in this expressions HDA node. The last 3 outputs are for debugging purposes to help you. If it doesn't look right and you don't know what's going on, you don't know what's wrong, you can always use this to like figure it out. Just give it a second to load. This coloring, each color represents a point from this from the landmark that you have chosen over here, from these dots. Now I couldn't just like the lip sync one, there's a lot of landmarks. There's a lot of mouth landmarks. So some of the coloring sort of overlaps with each other. So I couldn't display all of them all at once. What you can come over here to do is under here, I have this section called visualize projected points. That's that one, visualize color. So these 2 sections are for debugging purposes. The mouth here, you can choose each group. So I've grouped, there's 12 points on the mouth. I've grouped them into 3 different categories. So you can actually see the colors because they're too close to each other. So you can't really see everything. So I'm just going to switch to the next color, next group. So group 1, and then these, you have the other, the corners of the mouth, and then next one. And then these are the middle points of the mouth. So it corresponds to the same group numbering as the landmarks in the lip sync HDA again. So you can use this as a reference. You don't have to know exactly which point represents each color. This is just look at it and go like, okay, it looks like this is the radius of my deformation. This is the part I want the mouth to move. And this is how far the mouth, when the mouth moves, this is how far it will affect the mesh. That's more important. The radius of the color is more important than the actual the pinpointing the actual position. But if you do want to know the exact position that you have marked on the mouth, you can choose this one too. The second output projects the points. So if we go here, I hope you can see that. These orange colors. I wonder if I can make it bigger. Okay, that's better. So these are the projected points right onto Oliver. So let me go to perspective. You can see. So this gives you a better look at what you have selected on the mesh. And you can actually adjust it. Adjust your setup, your landmark setup as you go along. So hopefully these tools will come in handy for you. There is also another, so you can see visualize projected points. So this is the second output. That's why I put output 2. I should put second output instead. Okay, I'll update that label. So there's 2 groups as well. This is the first group. It actually shows you the point group selected. If you go 0, let's give it a second. It will actually show you the lines, the actual lines that are projected onto Oliver. So it's no longer a straight line. So let's just take a look at what we have over here. So these are straight lines. Oh. So these are straight lines, as you can see. This is completely straight. It's just flat. So then I take this and project it onto Oliver, which is over here. Then this is what you get over here. So hopefully these debugging tools, these 3 outputs, will help you make it easier to set up the landmarks. Hey Jojo, you made it. I think you'll like this live stream. It's all about facial expressions. Well, this new HDA. So I know you've been looking forward to this kind of stuff. Let's see. So what I wanted to show you today is how to set up this, how to use this HDA tools, and how to use it not only on Oliver, so don't worry. We're going to use it on one of some other characters as well. So I'm thinking of demoing like a live build, a live real-time build on this character, this female, simple female character, which is from the Houdini built-in shelf tool over here. This one over here, this simple female. Let me just bring it up. So this is the fully rigged character that is built in Houdini. This is perfect to be used. I took this character. Now I only needed the mesh. So the rig I didn't really care about at the moment. So I took this character, which is over here. Here, let me zoom in. This is the character. This is so once you click this button, it will create this node. And then I bring this character, this rigged character, into this another geometry context using an agent node, because that's the only way I know how to bring it in. You need, okay, once you drop down the agent node, just put like input character rig and just point to the entire object, a geometry node in here on this object context. Just point to that and it'll bring it in. The problem is once it brings it in, it's still packed data. So you can see here there's no points. So this is all packed agent data. You need to unpack it. Drop down an agent unpacked, and you can choose what you want to unpack it and have the form geometry, which is what we're interested in. You can also get the skeleton and all that stuff. And that's mainly what I usually use for the kinefx rigs and how to retarget all that stuff. But today we're only interested in the geometry. I'm only using this character and putting expressions on it. Now these rig controls are also getting in my way, so I also do delete them. They are conveniently named by a default. So if you come over here, I believe it's a primitive name. So all these rig controls are named default.localmaster, default control neck, and all that stuff. So I just blast it all. I just erase it all. So at name default, delete everything that has a default in front of it, prefixing the name. That way I'm only left with just the character mesh. This is perfect. Then I grab that female character, the cleaned up one, and bring it into my expressions geometry node, which is where I put all the presets and all the nice face making stuff. Let's give it 1 second to load. There we go. Human close up. So this is like so this is the exact same preset that I was using on Oliver for this really expression. Like really, let's go over here. So it's the exact same preset. Now these presets are just this setup. This setup. All this is embedded inside this node. Or sorry, this part is embedded inside the node. So we're gonna set this up, and I think it'll be more clear to what I'm talking about when you have something visualized. When you have something to visualize, like it's this requires a bit of real estate setup. Just give me a second. So this is what I usually like to do. Put Oliver on the face on the upper side, but I do have to transform it just to shift it over just a bit, like a unit or two. So so I can get some room to see the controls over here. And the controls would be over here. So that's why I had to split my screen. So you don't see it right now, but if you highlight the edit, so this is the actual controls. This is merging all three of these guys over here, which are the controls for the face. So I take and merge that in, edit this, select the edit, come over here, press enter. And you'll see the controls right here. And whatever you do here, so I'm going to manipulate a point. Select this cursor over here. Choose the point, this, and then press T or R or S, or is it E, to scale. Scale doesn't do much, I guess, right now. And then press, okay, select the point, and I'm going to press T to transform it. So now I can manipulate this point. And then this control, however you move it, however you manipulate it, will reflect on the geometry right away, because we're viewing the results right here in this one. Now, this is not what we're going to be rendering. I've shifted it over. I've only shifted it over because if I put the render flag over here, the controls are overlapping with the mesh right here. So it's a little hard to visualize. So that's why I have to move it over. You don't have to do that, but this is how I like to work. You can think of your own. You don't have to work. This is just my way of working through it. So that's an overall gist of a summary of the whole thing. These presets took most of the time to set up. So we have like a really frown face, sad mouth, super sad, which is I think it's just manipulating the eyebrows here. Yeah. So the one thing about these presets, if once you get these presets in, you can actually combine the presets. So you can see that this super sad mouth is a combination of two presets. One having the frowning face, so that's just this. These two are the exact same preset nodes, and then I add on top of it, I layer on top of it the eyebrows to make a super sad face. So that's the beauty of these things, is that you can stack, layer them, and even manipulate it to, it's very flexible. And if you want to manipulate this even further, so you say this preset, okay, it's almost there, it's not quite there, like this is not exactly what the look I want. You can also edit it, so you can still put the edit note down here. Oh, sorry, it connected the wrong node. Okay, I'm gonna move this over. Okay, let me get that set up again. So this is why I have to move it over. Okay, come here, and we have this super puffy, innocent eye look. So I want to manipulate this even further. Come over here. So again, select your edit, come over here, press enter. Press this cursor, select the point mode, select one of the points, press T, press R, whatever, however you want to manipulate it, and you can manipulate it even further, layer your modifications. Can you rename the presets as per AR for iPhone? I'm thinking that you copy attributes later for an import. Oh, I'm just gonna get there. Just give me one, just hold that thought. I will get there in just a second. So these presets, let me just show you a few more, what I've done first. And then we can combine them all into like a blend shape. And then I take all these blend shapes, and then I can actually export it out of Houdini and into Blender, which is something I was trying to show in the last live stream and near the end. But transferring, I had a bit of difficulty in the last live stream transferring the shape key. In Blender, it's called shape keys. In Houdini, it's called blend shapes. But it's really the same thing. And I think in UE they call it morph targets or something. I can't remember. It's called something different in every single application, but they all do the same thing. So we have our upset Teddy. One of my favorite ones is the evil grin. Now the evil grin preset doesn't work that well on other meshes. It needs a little bit of fine tuning. So I have exposed some of the parameters. So if you noticed, if you use this, you will notice that these presets, now I'm going to bring up the parameters. There are parameters that you can manipulate even further. I've exposed some of them out. Oh, evil grin over here. Okay. Evil grin scale. I didn't know what else to call it. So make it more evil. So if you go too far, then it doesn't look right. So every mesh, every geometry is different. Every character will have a different size and different head shape. Some may have a really thin chin, as we'll see in the simple female one that I will demo live. You will need a bit of adjusting because the one in this one, in this simple female, has a lot of different parts. There's actually teeth. She has teeth, and the eyebrows are actually additional geometry, which I'll get into in just a bit. So that was huge difficulty in implementing into the HDA to handle all these additional geometry. But the point of exposing these parameters for the preset expression is so that you can have a bit more control into something, into the expression. Who knows? You may not want him that evil, so let's just lower down the scale. And then you have to lower down the height. This is the eyebrows. And you can do this to create a whole new expression. Okay, the grin is too far up. Let's lower it back down. Do something funny. Lower mouth a little bit. And this will give you something totally different. I hope I can undo this. Okay, that looks about right. This is super mad. Okay, and then there's a few more. So yeah, these presets took the longest to create. Oops. Now about that question that Jojo was asking, how can you put all the presets, rename the presets as per, and sort of throw it onto your phone? The iPhone has this feature. What is it called? This I've never used it, so I don't know what's it called, but they have this facial capturing app. What was it called? Face It or Face Capture? What it'll do is the iPhone will capture the landmarks on your face, and as you make a face, like express yourself, open your mouth out wide or whatever, it can capture all that data and all the emotions on your face and remap it onto a character, onto an animated character, onto like a cartoon character, a 3D model. And what it'll do is, as you move the landmarks on your real face, as you actually make a face in front of your phone, it will trigger one of these things called blend shapes. In Houdini, it's called blend shapes. It'll trigger something like lips move up or lips move down. In here, I have actual like expressions. Oh, let me put it here. Okay. So, if you're using that AR app, you probably have like lips up, left lip up, right lip up, or left lip down, and eyebrow up, eyebrow down, like something like that. Some very primitive, like something really primitive, not actual like emotional here. These are like expressional prefixes. And what you do is when you're using the iPhone, you make a face. You actually move your eyebrow up. It will trigger a blend shape in here with an eyebrow going up. So that's what I think that's what Jojo is asking about. These presets will not be as useful in that case unless you make your own presets. You can make your own presets to actually have like the primitive eyebrow up, eyebrow down, all that stuff. You'll have to do this. I don't like it's really hard to trigger these ones using that AR kit because this is an actual expression. This is multiple things moving on the face. The eyebrow, the right eyebrow is going down, the left one's going up, and like a lot of stuff is happening. So it may be a little more difficult to use these presets, but if you make your own presets, then that's a different story. I hope that makes sense. I've actually never used that app, so I'm just talking in terms of what I've read and what I've known. But I have taken all these blend shapes and I've exported it out of Houdini and imported it into Blender. So it does work very well in that case. So you can manually keyframe the expressions. I'm just going to pull it up. Just give me 1 second. 1 second. It's almost there. I have a lot of stuff happening. I hope it doesn't crash. Okay, so this is Oliver expressions. Let me pick one. I think this is the one. Choose him. And here it is. All the blend shapes over here. Let me turn on the rendering so you look a bit nicer. Oh, and thank you to I actually forgot who it was. In the last live stream, someone taught me how to use this camera to view. It is very handy. I finally learned how to use it. I know at the end of the stream, you were trying to like nail that in my head. I was just so tired. I didn't know. I was like hopeless. But now that they sent me a video right after the live stream, and I looked at it. It's like it's really easy to use. I don't know what I was thinking during the live stream, but thank you. This is coming in really handy. And okay, so this is Oliver ported over from Houdini with all the blend shapes over here. Now I have keyframes here because I was trying to get like that teaser video out. This is the teaser video. This thing, these two talking. So that was really rushed. That was like a really rushed job. But anyways, let's see. So now if we go like this, you got your really. So I'm over here. Look, the mouse is over here. So I'm manipulating these numbers. This is blend shapes. This is sort of like in here in Blender it's called shape key. So this is your shape key. This is me scrolling this, which is the exact same thing as this going here. It's very similar. So it is possible to port it over to Blender. Okay. That's just one to show you that. Magnetic. Hello, I made it. Oh, awesome. Welcome. I heard about Houdini Labs guy making a new node called Dem Bones or something. It's working to do. Yes, I heard about that too. I'm not quite sure about it. Not sure it's relevant to you as I didn't try it out myself. I haven't tried it out either, but I think I know what you're talking about. I believe that lab tool transforms for example, sometimes we have a lot of character animation that is like Olympic, that is like just mesh geometry. We don't have a rig for it. And what I believe that's what Dem Bones does. It will turn that and actually spit out a rig for you, an animated rig for you. So that sounds really exciting because we don't always get a perfect, we don't always have a rig. Sometimes we just have an animated character out of the blue, like somewhere some person had just decided to export the Olympic file, which is a geometry cache, an animated geometry cache file. It's literally just hard coding every frame with the different point displacement in it. So it will take all that data and actually spit out a rig, an animated rig. So that's really exciting. I feel like there's a lot of possibilities that we can do with it. We can actually take like an RBD. I'm thinking, and this is just ideas brainstorming in my head. Like you can take RBD, a simulated RBD simulation, and try and get a rig out of that and see what you can do with it. And after you get the animated rig, you can retarget it back onto your character, like Oliver. Throw that into Oliver and see what he does. It doesn't have to be the entire, you don't have to retarget the entire Oliver. It can just be like a finger moving frantically because he's nervous or something. So that sounds exciting. The possibilities are endless. It does bubble, and I tried and matched the blend shapes. Cool. I hope this helps. Pog, I actually got to see a stream. Awesome. I'm glad you all made it. Speaking about nodes and new features, I noticed one new node added to the docs section in Houdini site. Oh, what's that? What's the new node? Hello. RBLX. Let's see. So what was I gonna have for today? So there's the overall sort of presentation of it. I think it's related to Houdini 19. Cool. I wonder when that's going to be released. Okay, so I'll show you some of that. An overall setup. Okay, so let's get started into setting it up from scratch. I really wanted to show you how to do it because I've made some upgrades to the way you select the mouth landmarks. Compared to what it was before in the lip sync, it's a lot simpler now. Let's do this. Let's do one from scratch. So we already have this female character and we have this here. I'm just going to recreate this, the expressions, which is all this stuff, this good preset stuff. But I'm just going to show you just a couple so you can get an idea. So let's bring this over. Just going to open up my cheat sheet on the other side of my monitor. Female expressions. Okay. Now first thing we want to do is bring our female in here. Dot female character. I was hoping it would pop up. Okay, that works too. To this. Okay, now one of the first things I'm going to do here is I'm going to label this. This will come in handy a lot later on. Name this character. Now I'm going to identify the actual head. So I want to know the head. This will come in handy for my HDA. So what you can do is just blast it up. I'm going to take points. I'm going to use the lasso. I'm just going to select the head. Roughly. It doesn't have to be exact. So select it. Delete non-selected. So I have the head right here. Now I'm just going to put a label. Now don't worry. The expressions HDA worked with the entire character. It's just this will help identify the landmarks. All right. Now let's start with the nose. Facial, deformer. So all the facial deformer expressions are labeled facial deformer, and then you can go express. And all of these are the new expressions HDA. The ones for the landmarks, because the landmark ones, to set up the landmarks, those nodes are shared with the lip sync. So that I call it facial, just facial, and you should come up with, this is the old one, the facial mouth control. The ones that we want is the facial mouth points, facial nose points, and there should be an eyebrow, facial eyebrow points. Those are the ones we want. So let's start with the nose. So it has an an input. We want the head. What this will do, it'll just get the controls in the area that is close enough so you can adjust it further. So let's go with the front view. I'm going to press F to focus on this, and I'm going to template the character on the back, or template the head actually. It's better. So this is close to what it is, to where it is. I just take the head and I try to match the nose control to the character's head to the best I can. But you do need to manipulate it further. So I'm going to put down a transform, and what you're trying to do here, select a transform, mouse over the viewport, press enter, and then you get all your controls. Oh, the pivot. Okay, once you come here and you're like here, you press enter and you don't see that widget, right? That's because it's all the way down here in the origin. So what you want to do when you drop down the transform node, come over here to the pivot transform. Put this in. Put this Houdini expression in. $CX for centroid X axes, $CE. Y, and then $CEZ. So this will give you the center. It will center the widget. So once you come over here now, select this again, come over here, press enter, and you will see the widget in a more reasonable position. Now I'm going to press E to scale it, just because the nose is all the way down there. What you can do, like, because right now we only see the wireframe, which is not great. It's not easy. You can put the render flag on the head, but keep this transform selected. Then you can see both. So I'm going to do this. Now I know where the nose is. Press T to move it down. Okay, E, down, 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 E. So we're just trying to get it in the right place. Now after you do that, so this is what you like. This is good enough. This is really important. You have to throw down a rest position. Okay, now we have the nose. Now let's go facial. Now we want the eyebrows. Let me throw down the facial deformer express, which is what we're going to connect everything to. Just in case you don't know which landmarks to do first. After you throw this guy down, which is where all the magic happens, it will tell you right here. You need nose points, eyebrows, mouth points, and this is the displaced points. So this is where your controls go into. So we'll get into that in just a bit. Gonna put down the nose. Now I need eyebrows right here. Okay, I'm going to put down transform. And again, I'm going to have that center the widget, the pivot point, so I can actually see it. Press T, move the eyebrows there. So this character is a bit easier. It actually has eyebrows, additional eyebrow geometry. So you can actually manipulate this into place. So it doesn't fit perfectly, right? I can't really scale it in place. You can actually choose this, throw down and edit first. So we can edit each point individually. Press this. It's the same workflow. Select this, come over here, press enter, and then choose the cursor, choose the point mode. Now we can select the point, press T, and we can manipulate this in place. And every single time you want to manipulate a new point, you have to press the cursor again, and then choose whatever you want, like point mode, press T. Okay. Just gonna do this as quickly as I can. So it fits that eyebrow geometry. Now I will improve this over time. So maybe I could come up with a new way to select the additional geometry. Okay, I think that looks good enough. Now let's press the rest, drop down a rest position. So that's really important. Connect that. Now let's do the mouth. mouth points. Here. Okay, let me see some of the comments related to rig pose and muscle system for kinefx. I've actually never used the muscle system for kinefx. The only closest thing I've used related to muscle would be the FEM, which is the finite element material, I think it was called, stands for. It's that bone, the plant eater one that I had done before. The FEM destruction, the one with the car destruction, the car being a sponge. That was one of my favorite topics. It was very fun to work with. Let me see if I can pull it up. Ah, Squarespace. So slow. This guy. This was really fun. So this is actually done with FEM. FEM is usually best intended for like muscle tissue and all that stuff. I used it for destruction just because it was fun to see a sponge looking car. I suspect the release of HD now this year. Yeah, probably before the end of the year. Magnetic. There is a lot of these lag today. That's nice to see. Oh, that may be me. I'm not sure. My connection is weird. It is on and off. It's a good day today, I guess. So let's do this. So I'm only going to do one character, don't worry. This is not super exciting watching this live. Let me zoom in. So this doesn't fit exactly, right? So we're going to drop down and edit. So we can manipulate the points one at a time. Let's do this. My lasso. Let's move this. Okay. T, move it down. So this is gonna be super rough. Okay. And let's get the corners. I'm gonna place E. It's a little closer. I think that's good. Let me see. Well, okay. Let's throw down the rest position and then we can look at the debug information. So this one is the displace points as this label, the tooltip says, which is your controls. So the controls are actually just these three guys. So let me, you know what? I'm just going to copy the nulls over. Yeah. So it's just these three. Okay. I'm obsessed with aligning this. So the controls. How do we get the controls? Whoops. Take all this, and I'm going to merge it together. Stick it into the fourth input. And that's our controls. All right. And what you can do, let's take that out. Okay, so it's not now once you connect this all together and you go like, okay, what's happening? There's nothing here. There's literally nothing there. It's 0 points. So that's because I couldn't put any more inputs in. So what I did was, and it looks kind of bad to put all these inputs everywhere. I created a parameter so you can drop down the actual character mesh. So this is, if you remember correctly, that we had blasted this character for the head, so we can isolate the head. We actually deleted a big part of the chunk of her. So what you want is drag this character over here and drag it to this, the expressions HDA into this parameter over here. So that's how it kickstarts it all. One good thing about this is that it won't load every single time you're trying to like figure this out. So you can do this at the end. And another thing that I really liked is that there's less wires crisscrossing. So I'm going to drag the character over. Okay, that should kickstart it. Okay, so we no longer have 0. So we actually have points. The character is in. Now this is the deformed. I'm going to copy all my nulls. So all my label nodes. So I don't have to label them. Okay. So this is just to view it, so we can have it moved over 2 units. This is the deformed mesh. Deformed mesh. The next, sorry, this one over here. This is just to move it over. So this is the 2. This is the actual one that we're gonna render out. The last 3 are debugging tools. So projected points, visualize mouth, visualize eyebrows. So let's zoom in here and let's look at the mouth points. Ooh, it's giving it a huge makeup. So that's really too much. So let's come over here to the expressions HDA and then let's adjust the deforming radius. So this is very similar to what the lip sync HDA is doing. You have to adjust this. Now, since we're visualizing the mouth points over here, so we need to adjust the mouth. So let's lower this. Give it and then you can see that the color sort of goes smaller. Lower. Okay, we're getting close. So now you're starting to see other landmark colors as well. Now, I did this ahead of time, and the numbers that I came up with is 0.05. So this is different for every single character. This is something you have to do because I can't predict the scale of the geometry. Some are huge, some are wide, some are long. You have different types of characters. And let's do this for the nose. Let's visualize this. So this is obviously too large, and you can see that all the coloring is going onto this additional geometry. So this character is different from the Oliver character because this is actually separate geometry. The eyebrows are separate. I want to show you. This is a totally separate geometry. I can pull it out. It's not connected. The eyebrows are not connected. Let me delete that. So what you need to do here, well, first let's fix this coloring first. The numbers I came up with are 0.05 and 0.04. So these are the numbers that I came up with trial and error. You have to trial and error your own character to get that sweet spot. Now, let's fix this part where if you have a character with additional geometry, like this, the eyebrows is totally separate, it's not welded onto the character, then you can put it in here. This is where the additional geometry comes in. So let's go back up here. Let's go all the way back up here to our character, the actual character. Okay. Now I'm gonna find the eyebrows. Let's put a group down. Now I need a point group. So that's one of the really important things. I can only take point groups. So switch this to point group. Let's name it eyebrows. And I'm going to select it. I'm going to manually select it. This is the, okay, this is really huge. One second. Okay, that's a bit better. Let's do this again. Okay, let's select this. Oops. Eyebrows right there. And then enter. So that's my eyebrows. This eyebrow group. Come back to the facial deformer expressions HD. Eyebrow group. You should find it under here now. Okay, give it it just needs to cook. Okay, eyebrows right here. So now we just give it a second. It's calculating. All right, now it's taking the eyebrows. Let's look at the visualize eyebrows over here. Okay, now you can see that you can only see the coloring on the mesh, the actual head mesh, not on the eyebrows. Because we know that the eyebrows are there. It's just not, it's no longer coloring the additional geometry. What's more important is that you want to see how the head is affected by how much the head is going to deform. Now I'm going to start deforming the eyebrows just to show you how to use this parameter, these additional, the eyebrow additional geometry parameter. Okay, I think this is too far over. So just setting this up so that you can see the controls with it. Oh, it's still too far over. Okay. Okay, that should be good. Sorry about that. Okay. Okay, we'll just stick with that. There's a bit of overlap, but that's okay. Turn off 3D. So I just want to manipulate the one point at a time, and let's move this around. Okay, you can see that the additional eyebrow geometry is moving with the head. You can see that the head is being displaced as well as the additional geometry. So I'm going to move this lower. Now let's come back over here to the HDA, to the expressions HDA, and I'm going to remove the eyebrow group just to show you what it's doing. Oh, it has to cook. Give it a second. Okay, you can see how now, without identifying the eyebrow point group, the additional geometry, it's only displacing that geometry because it thinks, the HDA thinks it's welded on. It thinks it's as a whole. So it's not affecting the actual head now. The actual head geometry is not moving. Only the additional eyebrow. Only the eyebrow is moving. So that's why you need, this is when you need this here. This will tell it that the eyebrow is an additional geometry and you have to move both. So it does the calculation separately and then displaces it together. Hopefully that makes sense. So you don't have to align the side view. Oh, there's a stream. I'm sorry. I think I waited too long to respond to this comment. I'm not sure what you mean anymore. Random gaming. Hello. Hello, hello. Let's see. They're all also there. So there is an upper teeth group and a lower teeth group, which becomes important because now let's start manipulating the mouth. What I'm going to just do is I'm going to take part of the mouth. Let's take the bottom mouth, and I'm going to move it down. And you're going to see the gums. So this character is different from the Oliver just because it has so many separate additional geometry. So the gums and the teeth are not welded with the mouth. So once you move the mouth down, you're going to start seeing the gums, which is not great. So you want the jaw to move with the skin, right? So let's come back up here. So this is all based on point groups. Now you have to tell, let's identify the gum and the teeth. So what I need two groups. I need the upper teeth and the lower teeth jaw. So let's put this down, a group. I need points, so I'm only dealing with points. We'll call this upper teeth. Now let's manually select this. You go like, but I can't see it because the default pose of the geometry has the mouth closed. You don't see it. What you can do without messing around with your character too much, come over here, drop down a visibility node. This will temporarily hide part of the characters in your viewport. So this makes it extremely handy. Hide primitives, expose, hide primitives, selected primitives. Okay, let's do this. Now I want to select, select this, select 3D geometry, and I'm going to choose the entire skin. Okay, now we have all the internal. You can see how much additional geometries. There's also eyeballs and all that stuff. But that's for another time. So let's go back to the group. And let's select the upper teeth now. Remember to have the 3D selection on. Oops. Let me make this bigger. Okay. Gums. And you have to, the problem is you have to select every single tooth separately. Just annoying. Okay, so there's all your the upper teeth. There it is. And you can double check. If you go like this, copy that node. Make it dark just because this is just for checking. Sorry. That's not what I meant to do. Let's delete this. Put a blast down here. Make it black just because this is just for testing. I just want to see if I have the right group selected. Points, upper teeth, I called it. I'm not even bother looking through that. Delete non-selected. Okay, this looks good. So this is what I have selected. Okay, now let's do the lower teeth. Points, remember I only deal with points. I may improve it in the future. So let's select all the lower teeth group. So this part is still manual. I can't figure out a way to procedurally select the teeth. Okay, I think that looks good. Press enter. Now let's just double check. Let's throw down another blast, but onto the lower. Choose this. Change this. Okay. Okay, that looks good. I think we got it selected. So the purpose of creating that group. Oh, and remember to ignore the visibility once after you're done. So this was only to help us get the groups. So once we have the upper teeth and the lower teeth, we can come back down here to the Deformer Express. Press this, let it cook a while. Let's see. Today's dream leg. So you, I mean when you align the reference geometry front view. Oh. So you don't have to align the side view. Oh, I think I know what you mean now. Sorry. It took me a while to process that. No, you only need the front view just because I project it onto the character from the front side. So actually you bring up a really good point. The character needs to be, I'm assuming that the character is facing the Z positive So this is the front. So you can see the 1 right down here. This is the z-axis. This is the x-axis. So this lady is facing the positive side of the z-axis. So this is the, if you're ever not sure, just come over to the Houdini built-in characters. Just click one of them and just make sure that your character is facing the same direction as this character. So okay, let's just drop one down. Let's drop down the robot. Just because I already have everything. I have a female and male. Okay, so let's ignore this. 1 second. Okay, I'm going to take away the female. Okay. Once you click that, it'll drop down a robot character. If you're ever not sure which way to face the character, which was what, just use this as a reference. Okay, this robot is facing this way. Make sure your character is almost in the same. It's nice to have it in the origin. I have done most of my testing based on the origin. So if anything goes wrong, just stick it in the origin. It should work for if you have the character like over, not exactly in the middle, symmetric on the axes. It should work, but I haven't done much testing on that. So when in doubt, put it in the origin. That just makes everyone's life easier. You can use these guys as the Houdini built-in characters as a reference. So whatever they're doing, just follow that. Right, so now that we have the upper teeth and lower teeth groups identified, we can come back to the Deformer Express HDA. Now we can choose this. So I need to know where the upper teeth and lower teeth are. Upper teeth. Give it a second. It'll need to calculate. Lower teeth. So once I have those chosen, you'll see that the next 2 parameters are enabled now. Now you can actually open the jaw. You can manipulate the jaw. So hopefully you can see this move. Now, this has to be manual for now, at least for the version 1, because I haven't figured out a way to use like these controls to manipulate the jaw. That I haven't figured out how to do yet. Like using these controls to manipulate the jaw. I don't know how I would approach that. Probably with like extra controls over here, maybe a circle dragging it up and down maybe, but then I don't know, then there's no you could always use just the parameter and just slide this over too. I'll have to experiment with that and see which is the best way to approach that problem. For now, we're just going to stick with this slider to open it up. So with that, if you are manipulating the mouth and you have a character that does have additional geometry with the gums and teeth, and you do want to open the mouth, you'll have to open the mouth skin first and then come back to this express node and manually move just the jaw. So it'll have to be a 2-step process for now. Let's see what else do I have. Oh, the presets. Right, so this is basically, this part is your landmark setup. You know what? Okay. So that's your landmark setup over here. This is the manipulation. This is the controls. The stickies don't paste in the right size. Okay. Now, to make life a little bit more easier, I've set up presets for you. So those are the preset expressions that you see in the previous one that I had shown you just before. The really, or the evil grin look and all that stuff. So let's take this edit. This is the demonstration. Let's ignore it. And let's throw down a preset. Facial deformer express. So these are the presets I have available so far. I believe there's 10 of them. Okay, not sure. Because I keep adding more and more. Let's do the really one. So I want this girl to have the really expression. I want to drop it down here. So the size doesn't really so this is chaos. This is complete chaos. Not to worry, because every character is different, so you have to adjust it a bit. Now, the preset comes with a scale, so this is one way to adjust it. Okay, let's getting close. Okay, so that's pretty good. Now, there's another way to adjust it, even like fine tune it even further, is come down here to the expression. If you remember, there's a deforming radius, there's also a deforming scale. This is how much these displacements or these presets or your landmark displacement will affect the character in total. So this would be like a more global thing. So in case if you had like multiple presets here, you can use this to further fine tune the scale. So we were doing the eyebrows. I want it to affect it less. So you can see that it's moving back to place. Now I want it to affect it more, so we can... So this is more like a scale. This is the same scaling, but it's applied to all of them. It's applied to everything you have here. So let's enable our manual test mouth jaw open. So you have that. This scale over here will affect both, as opposed to the one in here in the really scale, like this one. This will only affect the the eyebrow look. As opposed to this one. Oh, sorry. Because I have the nose and eyebrows and the mouth separate, this will affect all the eyebrows. I guess I should have showed you something else. Let me add another preset on top of this. Eyebrows, down eyebrows. Frown. Raise eyebrows. Okay, so both of them are affecting the eyebrows. So I have this guy. That's the really... So it looks weird, I know. But I want to show you what I mean. Let's lower this a bit. No, let's increase it. Lower this. Okay. Let's come over here to the deformation and the eyebrows. Here. Now this scale will affect both. All of them. It's already like the global scaling for everything you have plugged into the last, all displacements. So hopefully that'll, both of these, a combination of the scaling of this one and the scaling and the exposed scaling parameters on the presets itself will help you fine tune the look that you need. So let's see what else we can throw on this girl. The frown. So this is like completely... Because this character is really small. So let's come over to the frown. Let's lower the scaling. You know what? I actually did this ahead of time. Okay, let's see. Frown, lower eyebrows. Okay. 1. Frown. 3. let me ignore these guys first and fine tune the frown first. Oh, that's the eyebrows, mouth width, heights. Okay, this is the one I need. Okay, I have to fine tune it over here because the mouth deformation scale here is way too large. No matter what I do to the the preset scaling over here, it's just way too large. So that's when you have to come back here to the expressions HDA and you go like, okay, this scaling is way too much. Let's lower this. This is like the global scale because the global scale is way too large. No matter what I do to the preset, it's just going to be out of whack. Okay, so that's something we can do. So 0.1, and let's come back here, and now we can further adjust this. To the look that you want. Let's put it on textures. There you go. There's their frowning face. So you can and let's enable this back. It's gonna look really goofy. So you can have fun with this. All right. So let's see. So done with the expressions. Updates. Right. I will be continuously updating this further to make it, keep improving this. So this needs way more improvement. Maybe add even more presets. The presets are very fun to create. However, they are very, very time consuming. The expressions HDA is compatible with the lip sync. So as you've seen in this teaser video, Oliver is talking while expressing the life out of him. Both are compatible and they're functional as of this release. So, okay, so I have this expression and now I want her to talk out of this. Now let me copy. Now, due to time constraints, I've already have the chops phoneme library already set up. So this is from the previous project. If you want to learn more about that, you'll have to... I'm going to point you to another link. Just because I can't cover that. It's not the focus of today's topic. The lip sync, lip sync tools in HDA. So this is, if you're interested in the lip sync, it's these ones that you want to watch. This here. So there is a version 3 available. So remember to click this. Use this for the documentations, just for like the guides. This is where I have the reference and all that stuff. This is the live stream here. Click this to get the latest one, like the version 3. So I have the lip sync working here in Oliver. So I'll show you how you can have the the expression deformer and the lip sync together, but I'll show you on Oliver. Or should I? Let's see. Okay, let me just copy all this actually. I can show it to you on the female character. I'll take all this. And this and this. Okay. So the best thing about the lip sync and the expression HDA is that you don't have to reselect the mouth pieces again, because we've already selected the mouth points over here in our landmark setup over here. When we set it, we had the mouth points over here, it's already set up. That data can be reused. Just give me 1 second. It's copying over the chops. which I use for the lip sync. It's a lot of lip shapes to load in. Okay. Okay. So we have the deformation. So this is the face that we got. And let's connect it to the facial phoneme chops. So that just goes straight into the mesh to deform, because this is the character that we want to talk. This is the expression that we want. Now we need the chops, which is the lip sync data. We're going to set this up over here to the audio channels. And it will load. So if you remember from before, you had to like select all the mouth points. So the neat thing about this is you don't have to do that. It's reading it behind the scenes. Let's go down a bit. So if you remember these, I don't know if this looks familiar. You have to like select this, select one point in the mouth. I really like the seamless compatibility so that I don't have to do it all over again. Okay, let's make her talk. Let's see if she's gonna talk. Okay, I'll just leave that on while it loads. Oh, 1 second. Right. One thing you do have to set up is the deformation scale and radius. Okay, let's come over here. So this phoneme chops again has the same colored landmarks. Give it a second. Let's turn this off. And again, you have that whole face covering it. So you do have to set that. Let's go back up to the deforming radius and deforming scale. So this, you can actually copy the numbers over though. 0.05. So the mouth is what you're interested in. Deforming radius of the mouth and deforming scale of the mouth. So mouth is 0.05 for the radius and 0.1. So let's try that. 0.05 and 0.1. 0.1 for this might be a little low. I'm going to do 0.5. And 0. Okay, let's try this. Oops. Okay, let's give this a run. Let's see. What is up with her face? That's, so we applied some custom landmarks. Okay, 0.5 is a little too much. The lips are moving wild. Okay, so that her face looks funny is because of all this random stuff that we have added. Let's take out some. Okay, that should do it. Let's do 2.5. Give it a run. So it does take a while to calculate. Okay, so her lips are moving. So this looks good. So I'm just going to let it run for a few frames. All right. So I was going to show you this blend shapes to shape key, sort of like Houdini to Blender. I don't know if any of you guys want to see that. Because the problem with this, transferring the shape keys in Blender, I actually use a shape key pro, like a shape key manager add-on in Blender that I bought. I could never get it working with the native Blender function. But this is only important if you're ever wanting to transfer your shape key onto a motion capture, like you have Her face is making really weird now. I think it's really too much. This deformation scale. I think it does have to be 0.1. Let me show it to you. Actually, yeah, let's just do it just quickly. So we have something. Let's export this face into Blender. We'll call it weird face. So, and then I'll do the lip sync. The lip sync still needs work. So let's cut this cord. Let's come here. Now let's bring in the original character, which is just the top, which is just this one. It's just this. I'm just going to use an object merge node just because I don't want lines crisscrossing everywhere. Character into object. Okay, so you have both of these, and I'm going to blend this together. So we're going to drop down blend shape. This one always goes first. You want the original look to go first. And then you have your deformed shape. Let's call this weird face. And I'm going to drop it in here. Come to blend shapes. Click on this button here, update channel names from input, and it will get you the right name over here. So once you flip this, whoop. All right. Now let's export this out. FBX ROP. Just your plain FBX. So you don't want any of these guys, not these two, but just the plain FBX output. Disable the ASCII because Blender can't read ASCII FBX. I'm trying to drag this down. Enable force blend shape export. Now let's put this in a place that we can find. Weird face. Female weird face look. Now it doesn't matter. For the frame range, we don't have anything keyed in. So that doesn't matter. Just current frame is fine. Save it. I'm just opening Blender on the other side. Let's go over here. Just give me 1 second. I just have to find the file. Exports. Okay, so there's that weird face. Now let's get rid of all this stuff. Let's bring it over. Import FBX. This here, and it'll be 100 scaling. So remember to times 100. Otherwise, it'll be super tiny, and you'll be like, "Where's my model?" There it is. Okay. Click this girl. Come over to this little triangles, which is the data properties. You'll see the weird face blend shape right here. So let's turn this up. There we go. So the blend shape is successfully exporting out. I wonder if the textures came over. Let me see. I've actually never exported her, so this is a good experimentation for me. Let me turn the background off. Where is this? Film, transparent, Olympic, boom. Okay, so the textures did not come over. So you'll have to manually export the textures and bring it over. So that it's not reading it. It worked for the other character though. You know what? This texture is probably embedded inside Houdini. So you might have to bake the texture out. I'm guessing this is inside Houdini. Let me see. Material. Skin. Oh, here it is. Shop material. Mantra. Oh, it's in the mantra surface body. materials. I wonder if you can bake it out. Oops. Wrong note, wrong note. Oh. So the material is buried deep in here somewhere. Okay, yeah. I don't know if you want to you care about the textures for this girl. I only use her for demonstration purposes just because it comes with built-in Houdini, so it's easy to share. All right. Cool. So that's all I had planned for today. Does anyone have any questions? Yeah, that's all I have on my list for today. Cool. All right. So I guess I'll just end off the stream. I think I lost a lot of people down the road. It was a really long stream again. I have a lot of plans out for this tool combined with everything else. So now we have, let me see what we have. Let's see. So we have a clothing generator. We have a head generator. We have a lip sync tools. We have now a facial expressions tool. What else? And there is a body generator I have, but that's not really relevant to what I want to do. So let's just not count that. So with all these tools, I can finally have a complete, at least functional. It will be a very simplified character creation animation tool set going on. I mean, work still needs to be done. Like a lot of work needs to be done. But I think this is a pretty good start. Next week or next, I'm not going to put a time date on it actually. The next live stream will cover the motion capture. So this will bring everything, a lot of motion into everything combined here. And if I have time, I want to expand the clothing set so I could have more variety, like button shirts and t-shirts. Well, t-shirts we have a button shirt, a tuxedo, maybe a suit, and more stuff like that. Oh, I do have a belt generator. Well, that goes with the clothing though. So the next one will be more exciting on top of all this. Finally, everything is coming together. Hopefully you can get a short film going on soon. All right, so that's all I had for today. Yeah, so let me know in the comments below if you find this tool set helpful, not helpful. You think you'd be using this. The fact that it works really well with the lip sync is something that I'm really, really happy about. But I feel like I'm alone on that. I feel like the lip sync is something that I alone enjoy. Not everyone enjoys that because it's not production quality. It is good to make like small video clips for like social media and all that. But if you want, I guess it's not production quality yet. Maybe one day if I put more effort, like little updates here and there, maybe a year later it'll be a lot better. Hopefully. One can hope. All right. Thanks for sharing. Oh, thank you for showing up and thank you for watching and making it to the end. So I want to thank everyone for coming today and I hope you enjoyed this. I will be releasing the example hip in the next few days after I clean everything up and add my little notes here and there. So hopefully that'll help everyone else. Yeah, and thanks for coming today. And happy Houdini.